In this episode, I want to talk about decisions and directions and an idea that might be useful for you in terms of keeping your direction on the track that you want to be headed in. Because it's very easy, isn't it, to start going off track and start heading into a different place and start making decisions which take us away from what we really want. And so I want to share an idea with you that might just be useful to you in terms of staying on track. In fact, in terms of knowing what your track actually is and having some sort of way of judging each decision that you make. So you've got a certain criteria, a certain benchmark, if you like, by which you can decide whether something is a good idea or whether it isn't a good idea. And when we make decisions like that, especially decisions that keep on coming in, lots and lots of decisions we make, it can be quite difficult to weigh things up. And so the idea that I'm going to throw out to you, just in case it's useful, is an idea that is actually more common than you would think. But it's an idea that is based on having one key metric, one key way of measuring what it is that you decide to do. So that when a decision comes in, you can just hold it against that one key measurement and make a decision based on that. And it makes decision making a lot easier just because you've reduced everything to one key measurement. And it might not be a helpful idea. It might be too simplistic. There might be things that you're thinking, well, I'm not sure I could reduce it down to one key metric. Maybe you could try 2, maybe 3. But the idea is that we just simplify our thinking. It gives us a certain clarity. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples in terms of what I mean, of how often very, very complex systems, very, very complex approaches can actually be reduced to just one key metric that acts basically like an engine for everything else. So for instance, look at capitalism, the economic system that surrounds us, very complicated, whether you like it or whether you don't like it. It's a very complex system. And yet everything is about one key measurement, which of course is profit. All of these different corporations and businesses and organizations, all making all sorts of different decisions, and yet their key metric is this profitable? So something as complex as that, even that can be viewed through this one simple key measurement, and everything else just flows from it. Is this profitable? Their measure is profit. And I was reading a book by the writer Scott Adams, and he talks about this in terms of his own life. And he says that for him, his key metric that he's decided to live by is energy. So he measures everything based on, does it give me energy or does it take my energy away? So he might be involved in a particular project, or he might decide, whether to actually undergo a particular project, and he'll ask himself, well, will this give me energy? Will it inspire me? Will it fill me up? Or will it drain me? Will my energy be taken away by this thing that I'm about to commit to do? And based on that measurement, he either says no or says yes. And, you can do that in terms of the people that we surround ourselves with as well. Does this person actually give me energy? Do I feel energized when I've been in a conversation with this person? Or do I just feel drained? So, for Scott Adams, energy was his metric. And maybe it might be yours. It's not a bad metric, but it's a good example of one. Another one, I'm thinking of, I think it's Southwest Airlines, an American airline company, if I've got the right one. But I think their mantra was that they wanted to be the cheapest airline in America. So they wanted their customers to have to pay the least in order to get from place to place within the United States. And so that became their measurement, their key measure, that any idea that came across their table, they could ask, well, does this help us become the cheapest in the United States? So if someone said, I've got a great idea, let's give all our customers a champagne breakfast. Well, it might be a good idea, but it doesn't meet that metric. And so straight away they can look at that and say, does this actually help us become the cheapest airline in the USA? Or does it take us further away from that? And so you can see the champagne breakfast straight away is out. And another one that might be a useful way of doing it is maybe your measure would be focus. Is this an activity that makes it easy for me to focus on this one thing that I'm doing? Or is it something that I'm not really passionate about? And so I find that my mind wanders. Maybe you're watching some sort of dull TV program and you notice your mind is wandering. And then you'll be able to realize that if focus is your key measurement, this isn't fulfilling it. But then you might go and, play your guitar for 4 hours and barely ever emerge, whatever it happens to be for you, or get lost in a really great book, or have a conversation with a friend that you find fascinating. Whatever it happens to be, if focus was your key metric, then again, it would allow you to start making decisions in your life based around whether this is something that really takes your focus, that it's really easy to focus on one thing, or is it not? And so you can see, can't you, that once you've decided what your key measure is, it makes it really easy just to check whether you're on track. As you're doing certain things, as you're making certain decisions, you can hold it up against the standard of this one key measurement and decide, is this something that is worth carrying on doing? Is this something that is worth starting? Is this something that is best finished? Is this something that it would be good to double down on? And so it allows you to sculpt your life with some sort of clear idea in mind of what that key value is, that key measurement is, for you to hold your decisions and your actions to. So whether it's profit or focus or energy or whatever it happens to be for you, it can give you a real clarity about what it is that you want to live your life by. And so I'm curious, if you were to have a key metric, and you've already heard some examples of that and how it works, if you were to have a key metric that is really important for you, so that your decisions and your actions could actually be judged and guided by that key measurement in the way that I've explained in terms of all the other examples, what would your key metric be? What would your key measurement be? And once you know that, and it'll probably take a little bit of a thought, it might even be something that you copy from some of the examples I've given, but once you actually decide it, it'll be really interesting to see what changes you make in life as you start to hold up the decisions and the actions and the rhythm of your life to this key metric that you've decided is important to you. And hopefully, if you like the idea and you try it out, it'll give you a great deal of clarity about how to sculpt life so that it actually meets that key measurement that is so important to you. So as ever, if you like this idea and find it useful, please spread the podcast, share it on social media or whatever, let other people know about it so they can benefit too. And you can sign up to the podcast wherever you get them. It's completely free. You can watch them on YouTube. Just go to asliceoftherapy.com and you'll find them there. And you can work with me directly. My name is Alun Parry from the Liverpool Psychotherapy Practice, and that's at liverpoolpsychotherapy.co.uk. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back tomorrow.